So you want to get recognized, promoted, and paid, but you not even recognize yourself. Yes, I said it. You want them folks at the job to recognize you and all your contributions. But the real truth is you don't recognize your contributions. So let's talk about it. Hey, I'm Coach Anita, founder of Confident Women Lead, and welcome to this episode of the Confident Women Lead podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about recognizing yourself so that others recognize you. So here's the thing. When we think about recognition, we see recognition as being something that takes place outside of ourselves. So we're looking for it from other people, from our bosses, from our partners, from the world. It's one of the things that we collectively as women and certainly as Black women struggle with is how the world recognizes us. But if we want to change how the world sees us, then we have to change how we see ourselves. And yes, the way we see ourselves is also a reflection of how you and I recognize ourselves. So let's talk about this as it pertains to work. Now, I have been in the process of evaluating or reading performance evaluations, performance reviews, depending on where you are inside of CWL. And one of the things that I'm noticing is the way in which we talk about ourselves. We talk about ourselves in a way that is not reflective of our desires to be leaders. You are not talking about yourself as if you are a leader. You're talking about yourself as if you are a doer. But then you're mad that they keep you in the doer title, in the doer label with the doer pay, because you want the leadership title, the status, the money, and opportunities that come with that. So what this means is that you have to learn how to recognize yourself first. It is 2025 and there is no more time to coddling. The eye is out the window. We are going back into the office. So that means that you have now, it is your responsibility to equip yourself to evolve, sis, into who you need to be in order to thrive. And I do mean thrive. I'm not here to get into, well, it wasn't built for us. Well, if we take that mindset as Black people and people of color, nothing was built for us, even though we built it. Even though we built it. Even though we built it. Make that make sense to me. Why would you tell yourself that? I belong in every room that I go into. And if I don't belong in that room, my discernment will tell me to get out of that room because that's why God gave me discernment. God didn't tell me that it was other people that's going to tell me when I can be in a place. And then that is whether or not I'm worthy or it's connected to my inherent value. That's not the way it works. The good discernment that God gave me would tell me whether or not I should not be in a room. But outside of that, if a door opens and I get to walk through it, it is an opportunity that the good Lord has provided. And it does not matter how other people feel about me being in the room. If other people want me in the room, and all the other things that our brain gives us to self-sabotage. So one of the things that you are doing right now that is causing you not to be able to recognize yourself is that you are unable to count your wins. And I mean, if work was hard this week, the people been getting on your nerves this week, all you see is what went wrong. You're not seeing what went right. And you're certainly not seeing intangibles that went right, that worked in your favor. You're not seeing any of the good. The only time that we are in the habit, that you are in the habit of counting your wins, is when you set a goal and you go to achieve that goal. That is the only time you count your wins. But the thing is, because you didn't count the wins and the steps that you took along the way, because you didn't count the wins and the steps of executing on that project or leading that project, you can't speak about your wins. You can't speak about the opportunities you've been given. You can't speak about the lessons you've learned or the achievements you made in a way that will reflect confidence, that will tell other people why you are that woman, why they need to hire you, why you are the one that I should select in a promotion over a colleague or someone else that I had in mind. You are not in the habit of recognizing yourself, yet you want other people to recognize you. And the ability to recognize yourself also goes with your belief in self, your belief to stand on business when it comes to you, your belief to take risk or to make a decision because you believe in yourself, because you have recognized what you have accomplished in all of the ways. See, you want the people to see your good work, but you're not even willing to show up and talk about your good work. So if you're not willing to show up and talk about your good work, why should I spend my time looking at your good work? I mean, I have a job too, right? So if you want to get recognized, promoted, and paid in 2025, it starts with you. How are you recognizing yourself? Number two, start with the positive. People who recognize themselves, people who lead, don't start with, here are the challenges that I had in 2024. Here's what went wrong in 2024. Here's what I'm not going to do in 2025. Let's start with, here is what I am going to do, not just what I'm going to achieve, but who I am going to be, how I am going to lead. And everything that you do starts with, here's what I'm going to do. You are moving from tactics. You are moving in operations. You are moving from a plan. And none of that is strategic. None of that says that you see the big picture outside of you. Because I'm going to tell you a little secret between me and you. Most things that's happening at work don't have anything to do with you. And the amount of mental capacity that you are given, what you feel as failures or little flukes, people have already moved on. If you think about how much you have in your day with work and outside of work, there is not a lot of time to spend thinking about little nuances. Who, got thrown under the bus in a meeting might be a conversation for a couple hours. But there'll be another meeting and something else will go wrong, and that'll be the conversation. The workplace is much like high school, where today you might have had an embarrassing moment and you might be the subject, but tomorrow it will be somebody else. So let it be somebody else and move on in your head with what you need to accomplish, with who you want to be. And so, do you want to be a leader? One, do you really want to be a leader? Because leaders lead by example. Two, are you recognizing you? Are you showing up as the person that you want to be? And is that the person that is going to achieve the outcomes that you want? Because, see, those two need to be working together. If I'm showing up as the woman who is tired of these people, if I'm showing up like I just rolled out of bed, if I'm showing up like I've checked out, but I need to collect this paycheck, if I'm showing up like I am the person who feels compelled, like I need to fix it. I need to fix these people. I need to make them see this. I need to do this. If I'm showing up as the person who feels like I need to prove my worth to these people in order for me to be deemed worthy, I will never be deemed worthy because I don't even see it in myself. Worthiness and recognition starts with you. And you can be mad at those people for not recognizing you. But before you say, Coach Anita, I'm doing all these things, but they are not recognizing me. I'm not getting my just due. I'm going to circle back to you and say, how did you recognize you? Because if you said, I just want to do my work and stay in the back and let them do what they do, you didn't recognize you. You let somebody else speak for your work. And anytime you let somebody else speak for your work, they get to take the recognition and the credit for your work. And thus, they are the one who gets promoted. See, you wanted to play it safe. You wanted to hide in the background. You didn't feel confident enough to step up and speak up and lead and speak on your work. But you're mad at the outcome because you were not willing to recognize your work by going to tell the people why it was amazing. And because you're not in the practice of going to tell the people why your work was amazing, how it added value to the company, you don't feel confident enough to do it. So you figure if I just stay back here and I work really hard, I will get promoted. And you have. But now you want more. More requires more of you. It requires you to evolve. It requires you to understand the language of leadership. It requires you to move and talk like a leader. There are levels to this. And the levels where meritocracy, where working hard will get you moved up, you have reached that limit, either at this organization, in this team, or overall. And if you want more, you've got to do the work. You've got to do the work to get to the more. And that word has nothing to do with code switching. It really doesn't. Because I can use my best work voice. And that might make people feel warm and fuzzy, but that does not mean that they will promote me, especially if I'm over here doing all the good work for them and I do it really well. Why would you move me if you were the leader? I mean, you're doing a great job. Keep doing it, right? So as we kick off 2025 and the Confident Women Lead podcast, I need you to start with recognition. And if you need support with being recognized, I encourage you. I am telling you, the best thing you can do for your confidence is to get inside of Confident Women Lead. I guarantee you, in 60 days or less, your confidence will have increased tenfold. Because a part of the challenge is you don't know the language of leadership. You don't know how to speak like a leader. They do. It's inherent in their system. We didn't have anybody to put it into our system. So the language that is inherent to us is directness and talking and speaking matter of fact. Because that is what we need to do from an outside of the workplace survival component. It's how we talk to each other. It's how we talk at work, even when we pretty and fancy it up and we assimilate or we code switch so that people feel better talking to us. Because we better be so articulate, or we need to be so articulate, right? Here's what I need you to know. The time of blame, the time of waiting, the time of pointing the finger, that time has gone. If we are going back in time, at best, in the workplace, we're going back to the 2010s, where we all went into the office and we were likely the only on our floor. And if you still have not learned how corporate politics works, how to navigate office politics, how to manage your emotions, how to get along with folks, even though you don't like them. Yes, it is possible. How to show up and recognize yourself, even when the people are ticked off about it. But listen, the people are going to be ticked off one way or another. So they might as well be ticked off that you're showing up and recognizing yourself, because the light, one thing for certain and two things is for sure, is that people can be mad at the light, but they are still attracted to it. It's really easy to be negative about your negative demeanor. It's really easy to do that. It's really easy to put you in a box and put you over here and keep you contained when you don't even show up like you care or like you recognize you. So with that, let's kick off 2025 with recognizing you first so that you can get promoted and get paid in 2025. That is absolutely possible inside of CWL. For $59 a month, you will learn how to speak like a leader. You will get support on your resume and other communications that you work on in work, because I want you to know the language of leadership. But the price will double in just a few weeks. You heard it here first. So make sure you get in while it's $59 or $399 a year. It is an investment, not an expense. If you think that career coaching is an expense, you're not ready yet. It is the best investment you can make in yourself. If you get a $10,000 raise, if you put in $399 and you get a $10,000 raise this year, you do the math. All right, I am Coach Anita, and I want you to remember the confident women lead through recognition, and it starts with you. I love you, sis. Let's get to work.